Good evening and welcome to what has rapidly become the singular most talked about event in the Philippine sports world this week. We are broadcasting live, and I need you to stay with me because what we are witnessing right now is not just a tennis match result. It is a cultural moment. It is a shockwave that has rippled from the hard courts of the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center straight into the heart of the digital sphere, setting social media absolutely ablaze. If you are just joining us, you are looking for answers. You saw the headlines, you saw the tweets trending, you saw the shocked emojis flooding your timeline, and you asked, what happened to Alex Eala? Well, buckle up, because we are diving deep into the aftermath of a showdown that was supposed to be a coronation, but turned into a cliffhanger that has left the entire nation stunned. We are talking about a round of 32 at the historic, inaugural WTA 125 Philippine Women's Open. The narrative seemed written in the stars. Alexandra Eala, the golden girl of Philippine tennis, the 20-year-old prodigy who has cracked the top 50, sitting pretty at a career-high ranking of world number 49. She was coming home. For the first time since turning professional, for the first time as a global tennis sensation, she was playing a WTA-level tournament on home soil. The hype was not just palpable, it was suffocating. Every billboard, every headline, every whisper in the Manila sports scene was about this moment, Eala versus Charaeva. But sports, as we were so brutally reminded today, does not follow a script. It does not care about narratives, and it certainly does not care about home court advantage. The headline is this: the entire Philippines is in a state of shock following the dramatic, heart-stopping conclusion of the match between Alexandra Eala and Russia's Alina Charaeva. What was expected to be a triumphant opening march for second-seeded Eala turned into a gritty, physical, and emotional war of attrition that has left fans debating, analyzing, and venting across every social media platform available. Why is social media on fire? Because nobody, and I mean nobody, predicted the sheer ferocity of the resistance put up by Alina Charaeva. Ranked number 163 in the world, Charaeva came into this match as the underdog. On paper, this was a mismatch. You have Eala, a Grand Slam junior champion, a player who's been battling the giant of the tour, facing qualifier, a player who has spent much of the last year grinding on the ITF circuit. But as the match unfolded under the humid Manila lights, the numbers on the ranking sheet dissolved. We saw a battle that exposed the brutal reality of professional tennis. The pressure of the home crowd is a double-edged sword. For weeks, we talked about how the Rizal Memorial crowd would lift Alex Eala up. We talked about the deafening cheers, the Laban Pilipinas chants. But today, we have to ask the hard question. Did that wall of sound become a wall of pressure? The shock isn't just that it was a close match. The shock stems from the history between these two. Go back to 2020. The ITF Spain W15. A young, teenage Alex Eala faced Alina Charaeva and fell in straight sets, 6-3, 6-3. That was years ago. That was before the Rafa Nadal Academy polish, before the U.S. Open junior title, before the top 50 ranking. The Filipino faithfuls looked at this rematch as a formality, a chance to settle the score, to show how much Alex has evolved. Instead, we got a dogfight. We got a match where every single point felt like a championship point. And when the dust settled, the result sent shockwaves because it wasn't a clean, dominant performance everyone had pre-ordered in their minds. It was messy, it was complicated, and it was incredibly tense. Social media is on fire, right now for a few specific reasons that we will unpack in this broadcast. First, the tactical breakdown. Fans are dissecting Eala's serve percentage, which fluctuated wildly under pressure. There are heated debates on Twitter right now about her forehand unforced errors in the crucial moments of the second set. Second, the officiating. There were moments in this match, tight line-painting calls, that had the crowd howling and the internet exploding with screenshots and slow-mo replays. And third, the psychological aspect. We are seeing an outpouring of emotion regarding the burden placed on this young woman's shoulders. Is it fair to expect perfection just because she is playing Manila? The atmosphere at the Rizal Memorial was electric, but it was also heavy. You could feel the collective anxiety of a nation that desperately wanted this win. And when you have that much emotional investment concentrated in one stadium, the release, whether it's joy or disappointment, is explosive. That is what we're seeing online. It's an explosion of passion. Let's talk about Alina Charaeva for a moment, because she is the villain in the eyes of the home crowd today. But to the tennis purist, she was a revelation. She didn't just show up to play. She showed up to spoil the party. She absorbed the energy of the crowd, which was undeniably against her, and she used it. She played with a chip on her shoulder. Every time the crowd cheered an Eala winner, Charaeva responded with icy composure. She turned the court into a fortress, refusing to be intimidated by the ranking gap or the hostile environment. This update is crucial because it sets the tone for the rest of the tournament. The Philippine Women's Open was built around the star power of Alexandra Eala. With this result, the entire complexion of the draw changes. The shock is also about the realization that the level of women's tennis globally is so incredibly deep. The difference between world number 49 and world number 163 is often just a matter of consistency, not raw talent. On any given Sunday, or in this case, a Monday in Manila, anyone can beat anyone. We are seeing comments flooding in from fans who are heartbroken, fans who are angry, and fans who are still hopeful. The resilience of the Filipino sports fan is legendary, but tonight, that resilience is being tested. We are seeing hashtags trending. Hashtag #LabanAlex, hashtag PWO 2026, hashtag Manila Tennis, and of course, the viral clips of the pivotal tiebreak that decided the momentum of the match. The significance of this event cannot be overstated. This is history. The Philippines has never hosted a WTA 125 event before. This was supposed to be the homecoming party. The stage was set, the lights were bright, and the script was written. But Alina Charaeva tore that script up. She reminded us that in sport, nothing is given. Everything is taken. As we move into the deep dive analysis, I want you to keep one thing in mind. The scoreline tells you what happened, but it doesn't tell you how it happened. It doesn't tell you about the wind swirling inside the court. It doesn't tell you about the tension in Alex's shoulders during the serve toss at 4-4 in the decider. It doesn't tell you about the sheer grit Charaeva showed saving those break points. We're going to break all of that down. This is a developing story because the fallout from this match is going to affect the rest of the week. Ticket sales, TV ratings, the atmosphere for the remaining matches. It all hinged on Eala's run. With the shock result, the organizers, the fans, and the media are all scrambling to adjust their expectations. But let's not lose sight of the bigger picture. Even in the shock, even in the disappointment that some of you are feeling, this is a milestone for Philippine tennis. The fact that we are here, debating a WTA match in Manila, trending worldwide, shows how far the sport has come in this country. And Alexandra Eala is the catalyst for that. Whether she wins or loses, she has already changed the game. However, tonight, the focus is on the heartbreak and the surprise. It is on the what-ifs. What if that forehand down the line had landed in? What if she had held serve in that opening game of the final set? These are the questions keeping the internet awake right now. We have seen reactions from fellow athletes, from celebrities, and from the die-hard tennis community. The consensus is a mix of disbelief and respect. Respect for Charaeva's performance, yes, but disbelief that our golden girl could be pushed to the brink like this on her own turf. So, why is entire Pinas shocked? Because we forgot that heroes are human. We forgot that pressure is heavy. We forgot that in tennis, you are out there all alone. There are no teammates to pass the ball to. There is no timeout to regroup with the coach midpoint. It is just you, the racket, and the opponent who wants to win just as badly as you do. Stay tuned, because in the next segment, we are going completely microscopic. We are going game by game, set by set. We will analyze the key turning points, the statistical anomalies, and the psychological warfare that define this encounter. We will look at the forehand to backhand, exchange rates. We will look at the net approaches. We will look at the body language analysis that tells a story the scoreboard hides. This is not just a match recap. This is a forensic examination of a sporting shock. The part 2 of this live update is where we get into the weeds. We move past the emotion and get into the facts. But do not mistake the facts for being dry. The facts of this match are as dramatic as any telenovela. The Philippines is a nation that lives and breathes sports. When Pacquiao fights, the streets are empty. When Gilas plays, the malls are silent. And today, when Alex Eala played, the country paused. And then the country gasped. That collective gasp is what we are here to discuss. So grab your coffee or maybe something stronger, because we have a lot to get through. The social media firestorm is just the tip of the iceberg. Underneath, there is a complex story of tactical mismatches, physical endurance, and the crushing weight of expectation. This is a deep dive. We're going to look at how Charaeva dismantled the rhythm that Eala usually dictates. We're going to look at how Eala fought back, showing the heart of a champion even when her A-game wasn't there. We're going to look at the crowd factor. Did they help, or did they inadvertently add to the burden? The headline says shocked, and it is accurate. But let's turn that shock into understanding. Let's understand exactly what transpired on that center court. Because only by understanding the loss or the struggle can we appreciate the greatness of the sport. Get ready. The analysis starts now. We are peeling back the layers of this thriller. From the first serve to the final handshake, nothing will be left unsaid. This is a definitive breakdown of Alexandra Eala versus Alina Charaeva at the Philippine Women's Open. Let's go. Now, we transition into the heart of this broadcast, the deep dive analysis. We need to strip away the hype, silence the noise of the social media frenzy, and look strictly at the tennis. What exactly happened between the white lines of the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center that led to this stunning outcome? Let's set the stage tactically. Alexandra Eala, a left-hander, typically relies on her heavy topspin forehand and her ability to open up court with acute angles. Her game is built on aggression, on taking time away from her opponent. Alina Charaeva, a right-hander, is known for her flat, penetrating ground strokes and a refusal to give up the baseline. The stylistic matchup was always going to be interesting. Eala's spin and angles versus Charaeva's flat pace and consistency. The first set, the nervous start. The match began with a palpable tension in the air. You could feel it through the screen. Eala, serving first, looked tight. Her ball toss, usually a metronome of consistency, was slightly errant in the opening game. This is a home court curse, manifest, the physical manifestation of nerves. She started with a double fault. That single point sent a ripple of unease through crowd. Charaeva, to her credit, recognized this immediately. In tennis, sensing your opponent's anxiety is a skill as important as a backhand down the line. Charaeva stepped inside the baseline. She didn't wait for Eala to dictate. She attacked the Eala's second serve. The stats in the first set tell a brutal story. Eala's first serve percentage was hovering around 48%. You simply cannot compete at the WTA level, even against a player ranked 163, with a first serve percentage below 50%. It puts too much pressure on the rest of your game. The shock began to set in midway through the first set. Eala was spraying errors off the forehand wing, her biggest weapon. Why? Because Charaeva was rushing her. The Russian player was taking the ball early, robbing Eala the nanoseconds. She needs to wind up that big lefty forehand. Charaeva broke serve at 3-3, and the silence in the stadium was deafening. That silence is heavier than booze. It's the sound of thousands of people holding their breath. Charaeva closed out the first set 6-4. On social media, the fire started to kindle. Wake up, Alex, was the sentiment. But analytically, it wasn't about waking up. It was about tactical adjustment. Eala was playing into Charaeva's strike zone, waist height, medium pace. She needed to vary the height, use the slice, disrupt the rhythm. The second set, the resurgence and the battle. This is where the narrative twisted, and this is why the eventual result was so shocking. Because Eala did fight back. The second set saw a different Alex Eala. She adjusted her court position, standing 2 steps further back to buy herself time. This allowed her to loop the ball deeper, pushing Charaeva behind the baseline. We saw flashes of the brilliance that got Eala to number 49 in the world. The cross-court backhand, usually her steady shot, became a weapon. She started finding the lines. The crowd woke up. The Laban chants began to reverberate. When Eala broke Charaeva to go up 4-2 in the second, it felt like order was being restored. But here's the critical point of analysis. Alina Charaeva did not go away. Even as Eala raised her level, Charaeva stayed with her. In their 2020 match, Charaeva won because she was more consistent. In 2026, she showed she is also resilient. She absorbed Eala's power. There was a game at 5-3, serving for the set, where Eala faced 3 break points. This was the moment the match hung in the balance. Eala saved those break points with immense courage. A swinging volley, an ace out wide, and a brave drop shot. She took the set 6-3. The match was leveled at 1-all. At this point, the momentum should have been entirely with the Filipino. The crowd was roaring. The humidity was taking its toll on the Russian visitor, and the higher-ranked player had found her groove. The deciding set, the heartbreak. So, how do we explain the third set? How do we explain the shock that is currently trending? The third set was a war of attrition. Both players were visibly fatigued. The Manila heat is unforgiving, even for locals. Tennis becomes a mental game when the legs start to burn. The turning point came at 3-3 in the decider. Eala had a break point, a chance to go up 4-3 and serve for a commanding lead. She constructed the point perfectly, moved Charaeva left, moved her right, got the short ball, and then she missed a drive volley. She netted it. That error was a catalyst. You could see the energy drain from her. It's what we call a momentum killer. Charaeva held serve, and suddenly the pressure shifted back to Eala, serving at 4-5, serving to stay in the match. The pressure is unlike anything else in sports. The arm gets heavy. The court looks smaller. Charaeva played a masterclass of a final game. She didn't go for winners. She just refused to miss. She put every ball back deep, daring Eala to hit the winner. And Eala, feeling the weight of the nation, feeling the expectation of the live update that everyone was watching, tried to force it. 2 unforced errors and a double fault. That is how it ended. The statistical breakdown. Let's look at the numbers because they don't lie. Unforced errors. Eala committed 42 unforced errors compared to Charaeva's 28. In a 3-set match, that is a massive differential. You are essentially spotting your opponent 3 free games. Break point conversion. This is a killer stat. Eala converted only 3 of 12 break point opportunities. Charaeva converted 4 of 6. Charaeva was clinical. Eala was wasteful. This speaks to clutch performance. Play your best tennis on the most important points. Today, Charaeva was the clutch player. Serve speed. Interestingly, Eala's average first serve speed dropped by 10 km/h in the third set. Fatigue? Nerves? Likely a combination of both. Charaeva's speed remained consistent throughout. The social media fire explained, why is the internet reacting so violently? It's not just the loss. It's the manner of the loss. Fans are analyzing the coaching strategy. Why didn't Eala use the moon ball more often to disrupt Charaeva? Why did she keep engaging in flat rallies which clearly favored the Russian? There's also a massive debate about the home court advantage myth. A lot of netizens are pointing out that playing in Manila brings a toxic level of pressure. Comments like, she looked scared to lose, not eager to win, are garnering thousands of likes. Then there is the faction defending her. She is only 20. Give her a break. This polarized reaction is fueling the algorithm, keeping the topic trending. We must also acknowledge the history. Charaeva now leads a head-to-head 2-0. This creates a mental block. In tennis, matchups matter. Some players just have your number. Charaeva seems to have a game style that bothers Eala. It's fast, it's flat, and it rushes her. Eala prefers time to create. Charaeva denies her that time. The bigger picture for the tournament. This result blows the bottom half of the draw wide open. With the number 2 seed out, the path to the final clears for other contenders. But for the organizers, this is a nightmare scenario. They needed Eala for the weekend crowds. The shock is also an economic one for the event. However, from a purely sporting perspective, this match was a classic. It had drama, it had quality shot making, and it had a stunning twist ending. If you take away the nationalities and just look at the tennis, it was a high-quality ITF/WTA clash. Charaeva played top 100 level tennis today. If she plays like this consistently, she won't be ranked 163 for long. The psychological aftermath. What happens in the locker room right now? Alex Eala is known for her professionalism. She trains at the Rafa Nadal Academy. The ethos there is suffer and survive. She will be devastated, no doubt. Losing at home is a specific kind of pain. But the analysis of her career shows she bounces back. After her early exit at the U.S. Open qualifying last year, she went on a winning streak. The danger is letting this loss linger. The shock can turn to a slump if she internalizes the negativity from social media. This is where her team needs to step in, shield her from the fire online and focus on the tape. To summarize the deep dive, Eala lost because she failed to convert on big points. Her serve faltered under pressure, and tactically, she couldn't solve the Charaeva puzzle flat, fast hitting. Charaeva won because she was braver in the big moments and played with a consistency that belied her ranking. It was an upset on paper, but on the court today, the better player won. That is a hard truth that the Philippines is grappling with right now. As we begin to wrap up this extensive coverage, we have to look forward. We have dissected the shock, we have analyzed the stats, and we have acknowledged the pain that is rippling through the Filipino sports community. But where do we go from here? What is the legacy of this match? And what is the next step for Alexandra Eala? First, let's address the elephant in the room, the future. One loss, no matter how shocking, no matter how public, does not define a career. In fact, if you look at the history of the sport's greatest legends, their home tournaments were often their biggest hurdles. Amelie Mauresmo struggled for years to perform at the French Open. Samantha Stosur had a notoriously difficult time at the Australian Open. The weight of a nation is heavy, and Alex Eala is carrying it at 20 years old. This loss, stinging as it is a tuition fee. It is the price paid for experience. You cannot buy the experience of serving at 4-5 in the third set with your countrymen watching. You have to live it. You have to feel the handshake. You have to miss the shot, and you have to feel the silence. Why? Because the next time it happens, and it will happen, she will have been there before. She will know that feeling, and she will know how to conquer it. To the fans who are currently setting social media on fire with criticism, I urge perspective. Alexandra Eala is world number 49. Do you realize how difficult that is? She is competing in a global sport played by millions, and she is in the top 0.01%. Today was a bad day at the office. We all have them. Hers just happened to be televised to the world. The social media fire we are seeing is actually a sign of growth. It shows that the Philippines is becoming a tennis nation. Passion, even when it manifests as anger or disappointment, is better than apathy. People care. They care deeply. That passion, if channeled correctly, will build the infrastructure for future generations. This tournament, the Philippine Women's Open, is a success simply because it exists. It brought high-level tennis to our shores. It gave us this drama. And what about Alina Charaeva? We must give credit where it is due. In the spirit of sportsmanship, we have to applaud her performance. She came into a hostile environment. She faced a higher-ranked opponent, and she held her nerve. She is the Cinderella story of this tournament now. Don't be surprised if she makes a deep run. She has knocked out the favorite. She has the confidence of a giant slayer now. Keep an eye on her. Her ranking of 163 is a number. Her game today was top 50. For Alex Eala, the immediate next step is recovery. Not just physical, but mental. She needs to step away from the phone. Delete the apps. Don't read the comments. Go back to the practice court. The tennis calendar is relentless. There's always another tournament next week. That is the beauty and the cruelty of the tour. You don't have time to mourn a loss because the next draw is already coming out. This match will be a reference point for her coaching team. They will look at the tape. They will see the reluctance to come to the net. They will see the serve placement, and they will work on it. The Alex Eala we see 6 months from now will be better because of what happened today. I want to take a moment to speak to the younger viewers, the aspiring athletes watching this shock unfold. This is the reality of sports. It's not always trophies and confetti. Sometimes it's heartbreak. Sometimes you prepare for months, and it all falls apart in 2 hours. But the measure of a champion isn't what they do when they win. It's what they do after a loss like this. Do they fold, or do they come back stronger? I would bet my house on Alexandra Eala coming back stronger. The narrative of the entire Pinas shocked will fade. The headlines will change. But the lesson remains. Tennis is a brutal meritocracy. The ball doesn't know you're the home favorite. The net doesn't care about your ranking. You have to earn every single point. As we sign off, I want to leave you with this thought. The fire on social media will burn out, but the fire inside a competitor like Eala is eternal. This isn't the end of the road for her in this tournament. She may still have doubles, but more importantly, it's just a chapter in a very long book. We have witnessed the spectacle today. We witness human drama at its peak. We witness the agony of defeat and the thrill of victory. That is why we watch. That is why we care. So, let's support our athletes not just when they win, but especially when they lose. Let's turn that shock into support. Let's turn that fire into fuel. Thank you for joining us for this extensive live update and deep dive analysis. It has been a roller coaster of a broadcast, mirroring the roller coaster of the match itself. We will continue to track the Philippine Women's Open, bringing you updates on all the remaining matches. Who will step up now that the favorite has fallen? The tournament is wide open. The drama is far from over. And this has been your comprehensive breakdown of the shocking result between Alexandra Eala and Alina Charaeva